as you know, I'm pretty obsessed with the games launcher thing and Gamescope for Steam on Linux. But someone, when I did the last video about Gamescope itself, someone posted a really interesting question. It's like, how do you get games that aren't in Steam into a Gamescope session, so into like Steam Deck mode? So I thought, okay, that's interesting. Now, what I mean by that is, obviously you've got Steam, but you've got Heroic, and you've got a thing called Lutris, and they allow you to access GOG, EA Store, Epic, things like that. And so some people, they haven't got, Steam games. They've been buying their games in other platforms, or like a lot of us, you've ended up with bits all over the place. So I thought, well, okay, let's go with Heroic first of all. How do we get Heroic games into a Gamescope session, into Steam Deck type mode? Now, on the Steam Deck itself, I was watching a tutorial go through it, and you download a flat pack version of Heroic, and then you add it. There's a thing that says add to Steam library, and you sort of do it like that, and that's why you can do it on the desktop, sort of. But it's not perfect, and it doesn't work hugely well, because sometimes it's sort of, I don't know, it just doesn't work. I tried it first of all, I thought, but it just doesn't work. So I ended up writing a script. And what this script does is, I'll take you through it. It ports over your Heroic games, or the link to them, into Steam desktop, and also then into the Gamescope session. So you can launch anything you've got in Heroic in Gamescope mode, in like Steam Deck mode or gaming mode. So, and what it does, it downloads a thing called UMU, and also a version of DOSBox, because that's one of the things. I've got some stuff at GOG, which is like ancient Ultimate Underworld, which is DOS, and it also loads in the bits for that. So what I'll do is, I'll just do the initial install, get Heroic in there, then I'll go away, download some games, and I'll just take you through the process. The game script for the games launcher itself will be in the description, but the Heroic thing, the link to the program that brings Heroic games into Steam and lets them work, that's going to go in the members area for a bit. So let those guys have a play with it first of all, and then at some point in the distant future, I will release it, like I did with the Gamescope thing. I mean, this is all Omarchy. This isn't for catchy or anything. I can do one of those another time. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get Heroic games into Gamescope. So you've literally got all your games in one place. So you don't have to launch Heroic. You don't have to launch Steam. You just, on Omarchy, you do Super+Shift+S, launch your game system. All your games are there, and you can play them. That's the plan. Anyway, with that preamble said, let's dive in. Okay, so here we are in Omarchy. The current theme is Retro 82. It's got some pretty interesting additional wallpapers you can choose. Quite nice. People keep asking me where I get these from. But basically, really simple. To get your themes for Omarchy, you go here, Learn. You click on Omarchy. Comes up, it goes to Themes, and then Extra Themes, and they're all there. They're all there, and all you need to do is go to the theme you want. I don't know what that, Blue Ridge. You'll go to the Git page. You copy the code. Then you go into here, Install, and then you go to Styles, Theme, and you would paste it in there. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to change it. Anyway, so you paste it in there. So anyway, so let's come out of that. Anyway, right, so I've already installed the Gamescope script, the games launcher. So if I go Super+Shift+S, it'll switch to games mode, and we'll go into a Gamescope session, basically. So you've got, he says, will it do it? Yeah. We're going to a Gamescope session where all your games are, and you can just play your games. So you don't need to do any launch commands, any Gamescope commands, because you're in Gamescope, so you don't need to do any of that. Hang on, it's taking a moment. I think mentally it's a bit slow. Anyway, so all the games are here, and you can do what you want. And then to get out of this, it's Super+Shift+R, back to the desktop. Now, that script for people who use Omarchy, for the Omarchy distro, will be in the description. And there's tons of videos on my channel about how to use it. And then I'll come back to the desktop. Here we go. And we're back. All right, so let's just get up file browser, and actually let's do that the other way around. So it's that one. I can't remember how to get around it. The arrows control, is it that way? Is it that way? Oh, I do this all the time. Super Shift, there. Super Shift to get the thing. So I've already downloaded the script and it's called Heroic to Steam. So I should need to drag that over there and run it once. And let's install Heroic and some other little bits, but there's no games to process because you go back to this script. So it's going to pull down Heroic Launcher. Build it all for me. Password. And it's UMU Launcher. It's going to put it. So that's done and it's scanned and there's no games there. So let's come out of that. And then if we go into our Heroic Games Launcher. So that'll launch up the first time. Whatever. Now, you've got your logins. So you can log in this. You can log into GOG and Epic. So what I'll do is jump off for a sec. I'll log in and I'll download a couple of games. And I'll show you how to do it. What I'll do is I'll do this part. I'll just download the games and then you can come back when I download it. I'll do nothing else. So don't touch it when you're doing this. Don't touch any of the settings. Just download your games and I'll be back. Okay, so we're back and I'm in Heroic still and I've downloaded a load of games. I've downloaded Solar Ash, Keen Abridgment, Ultimate Underworld, and Tale Cycle. This is what's in the library. Now, I've already tried Alan Wake and a couple of the games in here and they do work. But basically what you do is when you downloaded the games you want to do this first time. You can do this as many times as you want, but you have to rerun the script. So I'm just going to click it to make sure it works. And you'll get this. We could not find a selected wine version. We found another one. Do you want to continue launching Proton GE? You say, okay, yes. And it will do its thing. Now, what you have to do is you just have to launch the game in Heroic once. I mean, if it doesn't work in Heroic, it isn't going to work in Gamescope. So it's a good test. So I'll try its thing because I think it downloads some extra bits. No, what am I doing? Are you going to launch? Launching, installing redistributables. Now this is an Epic game, so I've only got Epic and GOG on here, and it'll sort of try and launch. There we go. Do its thing. Weird, whatever, however it does this in Heroic. It's very visual things. Now it should burst into life. There we go. Okay, so that's launched. Okay, I don't need to go any further. I need to just get out of it because I know it works. So how do I get out of this? Enter in game and exit. I know that works. Come back, library, and then you do. I'm going to launch Ultimate Underworld, but you do this with whatever it is, default. Yes, you do this with each game. You just launch it after you install it. You launch it once. So this should drop into DOSBox. Now, if you don't have any DOS games, well, when we get through the next part, I'll explain. If you don't have a DOS games, something won't download. There's called a branch of DOSBox that comes down in the installables. Here it goes on the script. You can hear the fans. Let's try now. Now I know this works. Here we go, launch options. Now you have to bear with me on this because it's an ancient. I played this when it first came out on like a 386 or a 486 computer, and it was like amazing. It was just a brilliant game, and it was like because it's like first person. That's why it's 3D. I mean, it looks a joke now, but at the time it was like huge, and it was just a huge adventure game. Underworld was brilliant, but this one was. I never played it. I played Underworld 2. And some really bad pixelated graphics coming up, I think. You can see the state there. I don't remember when this came out, but I actually completed this. Here we go, look at this. Brilliant. I don't know what resolution this is playing at me, but it was like whatever it was, 480 by 360 or something on your screen before. Go on, how do we get through? How do we get rid of you? Don't want you. Okay, I have to create a character. I can't get out of it straight away, so let's just do male, left, tinker, sword, traps, that guy, standard, name, whatever, keep that character, and then we're in and we're off. Here we go, look at that. When I originally played this, it was like it would redraw it every time you did it. Anyway, let's get out of that. We know it works. Quick game. Yes. Okay, so those two done. I won't do the others, but I'm just going to show you what happens next. Now, some of the games, like Alan Wake, when you get into Gamescope, you'll have to load it twice because it sort of wants to use the Epic services, but we'll go through that. So we need to close this now. Once you've run your games once, quit. And we need to go back to our script. So that, and then it's that one, isn't it? I want to put that over there. That one. Oh, I'm going to forget. Super+Shift. That one. There. Right. Okay, back to downloads. And now what you need to do is drag back over the heroic script again and rerun it. Now what it'll do, it'll detect the games and rewrite the scripts back into the launcher. Now what it'll also is going to do now, it's going to pull down this DOSBox version that works with the launcher. It's got to build it, so this may take some time. But it'll also pull, here we go, DOSBox. There we go. And it'll put it down to build it, so this will take a minute, but he has to do it once. So this only happens if you install a DOS game. If you don't have DOS games, this bit won't happen. And then every time you run it, so if you go back up to the top here, you see it's detected British Spirits, Eternal Cylinder, Solar Ash, and Ultima, and they're epics. And it's rewritten the start. So which one did we do? We did Eternal Cylinder was the one we did. Just let this build in. Give it a minute. But yeah, but it only does that once. I mean, it's only, I suppose, if you're on GOG that you'll have DOS games. There is a DOS game on there, it's Crusader No Remorse. I spent ages trying to get it to work, and then I realised it doesn't even work in GOG, in Heroic anyway. So you be careful of that. You've got to basically test in Heroic before you go to the next, before you do this, before you go any further, because otherwise you'll think the games don't work, but in fact they do. But they don't work on Heroic, do they? So just bear with this. It's a bit painful, but it only does it once. There we go. Yeah, so I thought there was a good way. I mean, I haven't got that big a library to test things. I think the more modern games will work. I think the ones that need to connect to Epic services, you'll launch it the first time, it won't work. Come back out of it in Gamescope and then relaunch it because it has to relink to the Epic services. But I built a thing in to use the authentication token that you would get if you're doing Heroic to pass it into Gamescope. So it should work. But I mean, I don't know. Anything with anti-cheat's not going to work, obviously, is it? And I don't know about Battle Eye or anything like that because that's outside of it. But I mean, there's tons of stuff on there that will. This is quite a big build. Jesus. But yeah. So, I mean, I haven't looked at Lutris yet. I think the only thing in Lutris is it's got EA, isn't it? What else is in Lutris? Don't know. But Heroic was like one of the first ones because I think it's easy for people to use in the first place. But the whole thing about doing this is so you don't have to. You do this once, you get your game set up, you download your games, you get it set up. There's no more command lines, no more dicking around with terminal. You just like play your games. Because I mean, personally, even though I do this, I don't want to have to do anything when I play a game. I mean, all the hard stuff is work, right? So I just want to load a game, play a game, because I'm there for the game, not for the writing the bits. Going to screensaver. Writing the bits. Okay, that's gone in. Let's just run the script again to make sure it's okay. But that should have completed. Right, okay, so that's completed. So you just keep running that script if you're worried. It's finished properly there. So, because it's detected, it's got the games thing in it. Right, so you just launch Steam normally, just to check you've got them in there. he says. And now something, you must always exit Steam properly before you switch to Gamescope mode. If you don't, you'll get a black screen. Logging in. Okay. And then library. And what did I put on there? Ultima. Timber. Oh, Underworld. Underworld. There it is. Ultima Underworld. You should be able to play it from here. And then what's the other game? There's something called Eternal Cylinder. Now that's, you can see they've appeared as new games. Anyway, so exit. Shut down. And now if we go Super+Shift+S, launch into Gamescope, they should appear in here and you should be able to play them. And then they're there. So that would be really simple. But yeah, I mean, someone asked about, I've got Alan Wake 1 working. Someone asked about Alan Wake 2. I don't have that. And the other store that I couldn't test is Luna, but maybe we'll have a go at that. Okay, so in here you go to Steam, Library, Non-Steam Games. Okay, not now. And there's Eternal Cylinder. So let's try that one. And it'll do the same thing that it did when it was like that window popped up at the side. Then it should launch. Here we go. And so now you've got your, what are they called? Your games in here. So you've got one place to go for them. Don't need to launch Heroic anymore. But with this, don't change the compatibility. The compatibility bit, Proton G, is all normally you'd go in with your don't need to do it. It's all been set up lower down. So let's go in. Right, into game. And then exit. Let's try Ultima. Play. Yeah, it launches DOSBox slightly differently. One. There we go. But I can't get Mango HUD for frames per second over the top of Underworld. You're going to see how quick your it renders. Come on, it's taking ages. There he is. Create a character. Sorry, I should have saved that character. There we are. Pick it up, and then just get male, left, tinker, sword, traps, guy, standard. Yeah, there's no overlay. That's a shame. 120 frames per second, and we're off. Because that's ridiculous. It's like playing Doom. Okay, let's come out of that. Quick game. Are you back? There they are. I mean, I did run it on that one. I wonder if that will run. I haven't run it in. Let's just see it. I mean, normally the way I've been doing it is I haven't run that one. I wonder if that'll work. But you should run them because if it doesn't work in Heroic, it's not going to work. It's probably not going to work, is it? You need to run them in Heroic first, he says. Yeah. That's what happens if you don't run it in Heroic. To get set up, first of all, it'll just do that. Good exercise, actually. Well, there you go. There's a demo. So make sure you run the game in, let's just prove that works. So Super+Shift+R. Back to the desktop. Let's bring up Heroic. Let's launch the game in Heroic. Enable. Now, the reason that you launch the game the first time, yes, on the Proton thing, and then you need to run the script. Because it's installing Epic redistributables there. You need to run the script one more time again, and it'll re-pick this up and regenerate it. Here we go. I don't know what this one's about. Yeah. So if you get errors, if you sort of do this and you haven't done this bit, so there we go, there's the game. In a weird box on the right. Oh God. Right, here we go. Highly pronoun, press any key. options, exit, escape, quit. Okay, confirm, exit to desktop. Okay, so let's quit that, run the script again, quit. So we need Super Shift, that one, to do that over there, and then I need to run the script again, make sure that that's set up properly. Okay, now I can go Super Shift S, and I should be able to play that game. So yeah, so that's the order. Install your game, test it and play it in Heroic, make sure it works in Heroic. Once you're happy with that, shut down Heroic, run the script, and then basically your game should function in Gamescope. Okay, let's try that now. There you go. So now it works. There. So there. Good at that. I'm glad I did that demo there. I know there's a proper order for this. And then let's escape out. So desktop confirm. Super Shift R out. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So I hope that's not too complicated. Just step through it. You need to install the Gamescope script for Omarchy, if you're on Omarchy. But if you're not on Omarchy, it won't work. So that script is going to be in the description. And then you basically follow that procedure. Now, the Heroic to Steam script will be in the members area for a bit, as I said. So yeah, so you load up the Heroic, you just install that script, bring in the Heroic store, bring down all the extra bits you need, load all your games in. Once you've got them all in, run them once. Okay, so they're there. Then run the script. As I said, it'll pick up the whole DOS thing if you've got them. And then the next time you use Super Shift S into the Gamescope system, they'll be there for you to play. Now, I've tested as many as I can. I've done Alan Wake. I did quite a few on there. I did a couple of Tomb Raiders. And they all seem to work. The only sort of weird thing is when they connect to Epic services, they launch the first time in Gamescope and they go to black. And then you launch them the second time because it comes up with this agreement box about using Epic services. You agree to that, then it goes to black. Then you close the game down again, you start it, and then it's in. I think it's that thing where it's got a link to the Epic services, but you get there. Anyway, so that's the members areas. I'll have a look at Lutris in the future, and I've got to write a Gamescope script for Fedora next as well. Anyway, as usual, I hope that wasn't sort of the rambling there. It's like complicated. I hope that makes sense how to do it. Yeah. Thanks for watching.